Hi, welcome to High Road to You. I wanted to share something that is so important when you're in business for yourself, and that is when you have a vehicle that's generating a certain amount of money, it's important to transition from, we're in the pet care industry, so from the age of 16, I feel like I've been cleaning crates and, picking up after dogs for way too many years. And what I did was I just decided that wasn't going to be my role anymore. That was not going to be my job. And once we had a vehicle that was generating a certain amount of money, there was an expectation though from, my wife at the time and my partners that, oh, well, this is what you do. You're the manual labor guy, right? Or that's what we do. And I would say no. It doesn't make sense. It makes more sense to work on the business, not in the business. And it took about 2 years. There was a family that came over and bought some puppies from us. We're breeding labs, Stofer's Labs, and basically they said they owned a pet facility, and they were in Marin, California. And I said, oh, it owns you. You don't own it. And they said, well, we don't work there. We own it, but we don't actually work the day-to-day. And I couldn't believe it. And so I had to visit. It took me 2 years to get my family in the car to visit this facility that was amazing. And my wife also was in disbelief that the manager was, surprised to kind of see us, see the owners that she hadn't seen for such a period of time. And my wife said, hey, how often do you have to call, Nancy for, any reason? She goes, hello, Nancy. I don't remember the last time we spoke. And that was so incredibly precious to me. And then when my kids would go on vacation or they're, navigating life, I would say, did you get any calls while you were gone? Because they're owners of these pet facilities. And they said no, but there was a time when my daughter had gone on a vacation with her future husband, and she was on the phone the whole time, and she was navigating a lot of stuff from Hawaii. And he says, wow, is this what I get to look forward to? And it broke my heart because I knew that there was protocols that could be placed, and we put those things in place. It wasn't rocket science. It was very easy. We had manager, assistant manager, there's a, chain of command. And whereas my daughter didn't need to be disrupted while she was on vacation with her future husband. And subsequently, future engagements where she was gone from being on site, she wasn't called, and we had a person that was on call 24/7 that would take on any emergencies and be that buffer, if you will. But again, it comes with creating a vehicle and not working in the business but on the business, and then not wearing all the hats as an owner operator. You just get burned out, and it's not healthy. And in a sense, you have to spread the wealth. The last point I'm going to make to this, I was working with a franchise owner, and I was a marketing consultant, and I was helping him brand these locations, and he had like 5. And I said, John, wow, what do you do? He goes, Mark, I don't work behind the counter. I pay people a fair salary for that job. I don't work behind the counter. My role is to find the next location. And this was mailbox, etc. And at the time, he was all about expansion. Reminds me of the person that the Domino's commercial where she says, I started out as a pizza delivery person, now I own 3 franchises. Well, he was all about next location. And basically, it was UPS stores that bought them out. Now, the question I would ask you is, do you want to own 1 or do you want to own 5? And he said too, he goes, if I buy into this franchise, say it cost me $50,000 to buy into this franchise, why would I want to pay $50,000 to have a job working behind the counter where I'm making, maybe $50,000 a year? And, that just wasn't his mindset or his goal of just buying into a job. He wanted to buy into a company that would build equity. And I think ultimately that's what the main objective of any business owner. I mean, obviously, if you're passionate about, cooking, and you get into the business of cooking, and you think that you're going to have all this free time, well, you're going to be inundated now. And a lot of people get into something they're passionate about, into business for themselves, and then they become unpassionate because they're burned out very quickly. So I would just say, be careful. You have to find a vehicle that allows you the freedom. I know in the first few years you got to really pound the pavement and put in your time and get things established, so that that you can reverse engineer that your price points, and how many customers you have to serve, and you can kind of figure out where you need to be to have that type of freedom where you're building equity. And again, this is another important point. If you're ever going to sell a company, it's not sellable if it depends on you, right? Or it's worth a lot less if it depends on you, because somebody that jumps into that company that you have established will likely replace you, and then they now wear all the hats and they have to work in the business, and it's not as profitable. You don't have as much equity trying to sell a company that depends on the owner, the person that's going to buy the company, unless they can bring added value, separate themselves, and grow the company to establish a payroll and then have a decent return on their investment. So with that, I hope this reaches your mind and your heart, and it gives you some awareness to what it takes to be an entrepreneur, and at the same time what makes sense long term, so that you don't get burned out, and that you look forward to the endeavor of taking on an entrepreneurial spirit. And with that, I wish you well.